Breaking news for every American paying attention right now. 2 new government funding deadlines have just landed, and if you rely on federal programs or food assistance, these dates matter more than ever. November 1st and November 21st. Those 2 days are about to shape how millions of families budget, shop, and plan for the month ahead. We're not here to create panic. We're here to bring clarity. Because while a lot of headlines are filled with political noise, what people really need to know is simple: what happens next, and what it means for their household. If you're watching this thinking you already know the shutdown timeline, think again. The calendar just shifted, and with it, the entire conversation about who's affected and when. But don't worry, I've got you covered. This channel exists to make sense of what's happening in Washington without the confusion or the drama. My name is Laura, and I explain how government decisions translate into everyday life. Your grocery bill, your benefits, and your peace of mind. So before we dig into what's changing, make sure you're subscribed. That one step keeps you informed and prepared, not caught off guard. Now, a little about me. I've spent nearly a decade helping organizations, families, and state agencies understand federal funding timelines. I've seen what happens inside the process, from continuing resolutions to full-year budgets. And I've helped local communities prepare when things slow down in Congress. According to the Congressional Budget Office, every week of a partial government shutdown can interrupt billions of dollars in regular economic activity, especially in communities that depend on federal support programs. And that's what makes these 2 deadlines so critical to understand. If you're new here, drop your city and state in the comments. It helps us see where these policies are being felt the most, and it builds a network of people sharing reliable updates instead of rumors. So here's the situation, and why it matters. Imagine you rely on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, what many call food stamps. You plan your month around that benefit, the same way millions of households do. Now imagine you wake up on November 1st, and your usual benefit hasn't arrived yet. You check your account, and it's pending. Not gone, just paused until federal funding resumes. That's the reality many families could face if Congress doesn't finalize the current budget. It's not about blame, it's about timing. The Department of Agriculture has explained that if the government remains in a shutdown state by that date, they'll have limited ability to issue new SNAP payments because the law requires active funding authority. To put this in perspective, SNAP serves more than 40 million Americans, roughly 1 in 8 people. These benefits don't just feed families, they circulate through local economies. Grocery stores, corner markets, delivery services, they all depend on that steady spending. When those funds pause, small businesses notice first. And while no one wants that disruption, it's important to know it's temporary and fixable once Congress acts. Now, the second date, November 21st, is when the temporary funding bill that passed back in September officially expires. That bill, called a continuing resolution, is what's been keeping the government open while lawmakers negotiate a longer-term plan. But continuing resolutions always come with an expiration date. If no new bill is approved by November 21st, agencies across the government will again face another funding lapse. This doesn't mean every service stops immediately, many essential operations continue, but it does mean certain programs may experience short delays or limited staffing. Here's where it helps to understand the process in plain English. Congress must pass 12 annual spending bills to fund the government. When those bills aren't ready, they use a continuing resolution as a short-term bridge. That's what we're living under right now. It was intended to buy time, but that time is running out. The House and Senate still need to agree on how to handle a few key areas of funding, and until they do, agencies like the USDA can't issue payments beyond what's already authorized. Let me share something personal. I recently spoke with Sarah, a home health aide from Richmond, Virginia. She relies on SNAP to help feed her 2 kids. When she heard about the new deadlines, she didn't panic. She prepared. She checked her state's payment schedule, stocked up on shelf-stable items, and called her local food pantry just to ask about options if there's a short delay. She told me, "I can handle waiting a few days as long as I know what's going on." That kind of calm, proactive approach is exactly what keeps communities strong during moments like this. Now, I know some of you have seen shutdowns before. The most recent major one lasted 35 days between 2018 and 2019. During that time, the USDA worked creatively to ensure February benefits were issued early to avoid interruptions. It caused some scheduling confusion, but the benefits eventually arrived. This time, officials have clarified they're using different procedures. They're staying within normal legal boundaries and prioritizing clear communication with states. That's good news because it means everyone knows what to expect, and it keeps the system transparent. So let's talk about what you can do right now to stay ready. First, check your benefit schedule. Every state runs its own calendar, so even if federal guidance changes, the exact timing will depend on where you live. If your expected payment falls after November 1st, plan for the possibility of a short delay. That doesn't mean your benefit disappears. It simply means it may arrive later than usual if the shutdown continues. Second, consider buying a few extra non-perishable staples when you can. Things like rice, beans, and canned vegetables are affordable and last a long time. That's not panic buying. It's preparation, the same way you'd keep an umbrella before it rains. Third, keep an eye on official updates from your state's social services department. Most states post daily notices about funding changes. Bookmark those pages or sign up for text alerts. That's the fastest way to know what's really happening without having to sift through conflicting reports. And one more important note, be cautious of misinformation. Every time funding issues arise, online rumors spread fast. Some messages claim people need to re-enroll or verify benefits by clicking a link. Those are scams. The USDA and your state office will never ask for personal information by text or social media. If you're unsure, call your local agency directly. Staying alert keeps your information safe. Now let's look at the broader picture. Why does this cycle keep repeating? It comes down to how Congress manages its budget. Each year, by law, the federal fiscal year begins on October 1st. When lawmakers can't finish the spending bills by that date, they approve a short-term measure instead. These temporary measures are not unusual. They're part of how the system maintains stability while debates continue. The challenge is that every extension eventually ends, creating another round of urgency. It's easy to feel frustrated by that, but understanding it helps you plan. The system itself isn't collapsing. It's just following the legal requirement that no money can be spent without congressional approval. Once funding resumes, benefits and payments restart automatically. There's no application needed, and you won't lose eligibility because of a shutdown. That's an important point many people don't hear clearly enough. This is a pause in timing, not a loss of support. Now, let me pause here for something important. If you've been finding these breakdowns helpful, consider subscribing right now. I'll be posting verified updates as soon as new information is released from the USDA and from Congress. My goal is to help you stay calm, confident, and ready. Think of it like having a built-in safety net of information. You don't have to chase every headline. I'll filter the facts and explain what actually matters to you. Let's zoom back into the real-world effects for a moment. SNAP dollars flow directly through local economies. When those dollars pause, it doesn't just affect families. It touches grocery stores, food distributors, and even farm suppliers. That's why states are watching this so closely. Many are preparing contingency plans to keep local markets steady. Even small steps, like coordinating with food banks and community organizations, make a difference. These partnerships often help bridge short gaps until federal operations resume. For those wondering how long shutdowns usually last, the average in recent decades has been around 8 to 10 days. Some end faster, some take longer, but nearly all have concluded with Congress passing a new resolution or funding bill. That's why the best thing you can do now is stay patient, informed, and proactive rather than worried. And if you're someone who doesn't receive benefits but cares about your community, there's something you can do too. Local food banks often see increased demand whenever federal programs pause. A small donation, even just a few canned goods, can go a long way. Kindness and preparation go hand in hand, and both keep communities stronger than any political gridlock. Now, here's something I wish more people understood. A government shutdown doesn't mean the entire government stops working. Essential services continue. Things like Social Security payments, postal delivery, and air traffic control. The challenge lies in support programs that require active appropriations. That's why this isn't about panic. It's about awareness. Knowing which programs continue and which may slow down lets you make smart decisions ahead of time. Here's the bottom line. November 1st marks the first possible delay for food assistance if Congress doesn't act. November 21st is when the temporary government funding bill expires. Those are the key dates to watch. Between them, there's still room for lawmakers to find agreement and keep things moving smoothly. Most past shutdowns have ended before the second deadline. So what should you do today? Review your budget, make a short list of essentials, check your benefit balance, and stay connected to reliable updates. If you help care for someone who receives assistance, a parent, neighbor, or friend, check in with them too. Sometimes the smallest reminder makes the biggest difference. And above all, don't let this process make you feel powerless. You're doing exactly what informed citizens should do: paying attention, preparing early, and staying calm. That's the best protection there is. Now, let's take one last step back to see the bigger picture. These moments remind us how connected every part of our economy really is. One funding deadline affects grocery stores, schools, farms, and families all at once. The good news is that every time we faced this before, the system has restarted. Benefits resume, paychecks catch up, and the country moves forward. It's not perfect, but it works because people like you stay engaged. So if you take only one message from me today, let it be this: preparation brings peace. When you understand the rules, the deadlines lose their power to surprise you. And when you stay informed, you stay in control of your own story. I'll keep tracking every development from now through the end of November with updates you can trust. So subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss an important alert. I'll make sure you know the facts before the rumors start. 2 dates, 2 deadlines, 1 message. Stay informed, stay ready, and keep your calm. The more we understand how this system works, the more confident we all become navigating it together. Until next time, I'm Laura. Stay prepared, stay positive, and remember, information is power, and you already have it.